welcome to another episode of the Get At It Gaming Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ben,
I am Alex.
and we are a bi-weekly nerdy podcast talking about everything from video games to anime to movies, and basically whatever we want to talk about. We come out with this is a bi-weekly, so every other week on your favorite podcast services. Everything from iTunes to Spotify to Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. With a video version coming out on YouTube on Friday. Audio comes out on Wednesday, every other week. So great show today. This is gonna be like a really relaxed show. Like not a lot of stuff going on news wise, but we thought it'd be really great to kind of bring up some topics and kind of talk about them. But before we do that, as always, we talk about our hidden treasures and what we've got as collectors. We seem to pick up things every so often. And I don't know, did you say you didn't have anything, Alex? For hidden trophies, or not to put you on the spot like I like to do, but
No, because I think I had stuff last time, right? Maybe not.
you had stuff and I didn't have stuff.
Okay, then I don't remember. I mean, it's put away now, but like I got some stuff recently. Yeah, I don't think I put that up there, but like because I went to Indy, I don't have it with me right now, but like I got like a copy of like Dragon Quest 4 for Famicom.
Oh wow.
For like $20. I kind of regret buying it because it's kind of bad looking, but like it's still in the box with. I don't think it had the manual though, but I still bought it. Yeah, I don't know. I got a Lupin Game Boy game recently, and that's pretty fun. I'm playing that on my Analog Pocket. It's just a puzzle game. You don't really need to know any Japanese. Just run around, and like jump through a maze, and you can like hop on blocks and like make blocks higher, and just avoid the person trying to catch you. I don't know, get a key and then open up the safe. Like that's what it is. And it's just like a bunch of those like arcadey type levels. Yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. I don't really have much to show off, at least for that. Maybe if I do something here. But you can go ahead, at least right now, and talk about what you have.
I didn't grab it, but my anniversary was last week, and because my wife's awesome, got me Final Fantasy 16 for PS5. I have not played it yet. I'm waiting because I don't have time. But what I also got this week, I got a little bit of Mortal Kombat 1 for PS5, which I did play about an hour. We're on Versus. I haven't played story mode yet. Super fantastic. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I think the best thing is like the fight mechanics are super smooth, and it's easy for you to pick it up. The hard part is picking up who you want to fight with you. So we did a lot of testing of like who does what. Last night I played with my oldest son, and then this one I've not played, but it looked really interesting. Called Death Retreat. It's like a different game. I saw the trailer. I was like, this looks pretty fun. I am a sucker for some of these ones here. You know what's really crazy? It comes with a postcard.
Huh.
Which you don't see, right?
Yeah.
I'm planning to play that this weekend a little bit because it's E-rated, which is easier for me to play.
Yeah.
Anyone that listens to the podcast knows I'm trying to get to 300 NES games before my son graduates from high school. Doing an official count last night, I am at 295, which is pretty crazy since there was only 648 title games in North America. But I got this bad boy, Darkman. Believe it or not, Alex, this is from eBay.
Really?
Yeah. This is the cleanest copy I have ever seen of this. The game is total trash. But and it's crazy, you can't really see it down here by the Nintendo thing right here. There's like a little bit of a thing, but that's okay. So with that there, I need 5 more titles. and I have
Ah,
hit my goal.
I did a
Oh,
thing.
look, there's
I did a
mhm.
thing on the fly. You can just keep going. I'll mess with things. Just keep talking.
uh yeah, I have not played this one yet, but I've seen people play it. It's pretty awful. But that is my hidden treasures.
So I was trying to figure out a good way of doing this, but apparently it just blows up the picture. I have a couple of these. Hang on. So I bought a shelf recently, and so I put stuff on said shelf. Or I bought two shelves actually. So I moved all my Conan stuff all up here. Um, and then there's more Conan down there. There's some Kaito Kid. And I was like, what else do I have a lot of? So I put all my Digimon stuff, most of my Digimon stuff, I should say. I only have two of the Digivices there, but I have a bunch more that are like in my closet still. And then there are all my like Digimon like Blu-rays and DVDs and Japanese games and English games. Um, and then there are all my some of my Japanese games there. So those are all my Super Famicom and Famicom and like Game Boy and N64 and my PlayStation, most of my PlayStation games and stuff there. That guide there on the bottom shelf is Banjo Kazooie in Japanese. There's some PS2 games there. And then so like yeah, this kind of counts as something. And then I'm gonna switch the picture. Where did it go? Did it not? Did it not save? Oh, I put it over here. And then here's the other shelf. So here's all my Lupin. So it all
That's a
fit on the
lot of
top.
Lupin.
That's everything that's ever released digitally. Or everything that's ever released physically for America. It's Blu-ray. Um, except the Fujiko Mine, like that big box on the right, that's the Funimation version. There's a Discotek version that I don't own. But like yeah, that's all that. There's more Lupin on here. Here's some of my guys. Some Sega Saturn, some CDs, some PlayStation, PS2. There's a Famicom game there, some manga, some art book stuff, and then the rest of my Japanese PS2 games down there.
Yeah.
PSP, GameCube, PS3, DS, 3DS, Vita, and one Wii game. I don't even know what that Wii game is. Might be Taiko. Might be Taiko no Tatsujin. I'm honestly not sure. But yeah, I just wanted to. We were talking about like what we should, what we have, and that's something I did recently. Was just move a lot of things to that shelf. So that's why like this shelf behind me is kind of bare, or like I don't know. There's like more stacks of things because I need to like move things around because I took all the Conan and Lupin off of that second shelf, put it all over there in the living room, and then now I'll have to kind of move stuff around in here and see what I want to do in here. Just because I'm just trying to allocate stuff properly and have enough space for things. Because I
Yeah, I
have too
feel
many
you.
things to put on shelves, but it's just becoming a lot. Like I have a pile down here of just Kevin Smith movies because I bought all of them on DVD like last year. Um, so
I remember when you bought those.
I still haven't gone through any of them. I need to, but yeah, I just
Yeah.
wanted to go through that here really quick just to show like, yeah, I did do something a couple weekends ago or last weekend. Build a shelf.
Well, it's funny because we can segue into what we're playing, and I will actually go first because it's not very much. I'm still so I finished Sea of Stars. I'm kind of going back through now and finishing some side stuff that I didn't finish before. Um, the only other thing that I am playing right now recently is Mortal Kombat 1, and I hope to hit story mode here pretty soon. Um,
That's not true. What else have you been playing? Is it Halo?
oh,
You playing Halo?
I mean, yeah, that's every week I play probably a round or two of Halo.
Yeah.
Um, as I open up my Xbox app, I know I played some Phoenix Wright that just came out on Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
Um, it was okay. It was okay. I'm glad I didn't buy it. Uh, it's not for me.
Hmm.
But I did attempt to play it, and I did enjoy my time playing it. When I did play it, it just wasn't for me. Um, yeah, I don't ever mention. I shouldn't be mentioning Halo anymore because I feel like Halo is just an
It's like
automatic.
Cyberpunk. You have to say it at least once an episode.
Yeah, yeah. If my son's friends listening, he's like, every time I see him, he makes that joke that I made about Cyberpunk.
So,
Uh,
so
every single time.
tangent here. I'm drinking the new Voodoo, new Mountain Dew, 2023. It tastes like sweet tarts. I don't know how I
That's what
feel.
I've heard.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, sweet tarts are okay.
They're good in the they're really bad, like really sour in the very beginning, and then after that, then you kind of get used to it. At first, I thought it was Smarties, because they're kind of the same, you know. Smarties and sweet tarts are kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's just one's more chalky. Um, but yeah, no, it tastes like sweet tarts. I don't know how I feel about it.
I mean, I could tell you right now, as a parent that has kids that go trick or treating, every time they go trick or treating when we're done, I do what's called dad tax, where dad gets to go through their candy and take a couple pieces. I don't take sweet tarts. I'll just throw that out there.
Do
Uh,
you guys? So we had this aside earlier before we started the episode, but you know I'm gonna do this one here. So when we were younger, and probably when you were younger, there was this weird phobia of like razor blades in your candy
yep.
or like stupid stuff like that. Do you guys go through the candy? Like, oh, so there was a certain point where like when I was younger, there wasn't really the razor blade thing that was the scary thing. It was more of like just make sure that it's sealed.
Yeah. Even now, uh, because all of my kids, even my older ones, they'll go through theirs, but I go through all of the candy and make sure. And I would never suggest in my neighborhood that would happen, but I'd rather do that. Now, the hard part is if you don't watch my younger ones as they're walking from house to house,
They'd be just eating it.
oh my gosh. And then when they get home, they're like, oh my God, I'm so wired right now because they can't go to sleep because
Yeah.
of that. But I try to go through it. Um, Being as young as they are, I don't tell them those stories. Uh,
Yeah.
you always heard that one story
Yeah.
growing up of, oh, someone bit into it and there was a razor blade in there or whatever. So, but yeah, I still go through it every
Okay.
year.
Yeah, I was just curious, and then you know what? Why not? Because this is one of those weird episodes. Where are your kids going as for Halloween?
I'm so glad you asked. So, my oldest ones don't know yet. So the next one, next stage, he's 6, he'll be 7 this month. He is going as Monty from Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Mm-hmm.
The next one that is 5, going to be 6 this year, is going as, believe this is so weird, random, Jack Skellington.
All right, classic.
Yeah, yeah, we showed him that movie and he is in love. And then my daughter is going as Princess Peach.
Nice. So,
I
are
am
you
not.
gonna go as Mario or like
You know what's
Luigi?
funny? I thought about it. So I bought because I don't like to dress up.
Mm-hmm.
There are those parents that spend the hundreds of dollars to get the lifelike ones
Yeah.
costumes. But my kids want to be Spider-Man, and I'm like, yeah, that suit that Spider-Man wears is pretty skin tight. That's not being able to pull that off. Um,
You could
so
be Peter B. Parker and wear the
I,
sweats.
yeah, that's probably what it would look like. But I bought a Camp Crystal Lake counselor shirt.
All right, yeah.
Um, and so I'll wear that, and then my wife usually just wears like she's got a Hocus Pocus shirt.
Mm-hmm.
We always joked about we should like all dress up together.
Like in a theme, yeah.
Yeah, I know where I work at, they do a dog contest, costume contest, and the winner
Mm-hmm.
gets like a $50 PestSmart gift card.
Ooh.
So I thought about it. I'm like, I could dress them up, but then you try to put stuff on them, and they're like, nope.
I could see you going as Wario. I could see that. Just get
Oh,
you a
I could
hat
go for that.
and get the fake mustache. Just a yellow shirt and some overalls. You're good.
Yeah, well, we were at Spirit Halloween looking, and I was like, "Man,
Do they
do I
have
wanna do it this
keyblades? I
year?"
heard that they have keyblades.
Yeah, they do. They're not very good, but they have them.
How much are they?
I don't know because we thought for my 6-year-old, we were like, "Oh my god, he could totally be Sora."
Yeah.
Now who knows? Because my 17-year-old may decide to go buy that.
Yeah.
He might be Sora. But they just didn't I mean, they were okay looking. Um,
If I remember correctly, there's no Kingdom Key. Like it's just like
mm,
what is it? Kingdom Key D, which is like the reverse color, right? The gold and silver. It's the
yeah, it's really
Mickey
weird.
one.
Mhm.
Um Starlight, I think it is, which is like the one with the star and it's blue. And then Way to Dawn, which is awesome, which is Riku's. And then
We saw
maybe
Riku's
Oblivion or Pumpkin or something.
we saw Riku's there. So let me tell you my Spirit Halloween. We were super excited when they opened. The kids wanted to go. Okay, walking in with younger kids, be on the understanding. So we were walking through and they have the jump scare stuff, right? And so we weren't touching any of those. This older gentleman hit this one of this devil thing that jumped out,
Mm.
and that was it. I mean, my daughter was done. Because it goes like 6 feet tall, right? And it screams. And so she was done. And then as we were walking out, they got these stuffed zombie looking baby things.
Mm-hmm.
Then my 6-year-old was done. He had a complete meltdown. So we are the people in the Spirit Halloween with screaming children. We won't go back for a couple of years. So as I was looking as a Keyblade, I heard my son screaming and then running. Uh, so poor kid was running towards me and then stepped on another one of those things, and then the spider jumped out. I probably traumatized my children. And
Probably,
it's
he says.
I almost bought one of those spider things.
Not anymore.
Nope, nope, nope. Well, I think they just need to be older just
Yeah.
to go in there. And I'm sure the employers are like used to it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I was actually going to go pick it up and hold it. It looks really cheap,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when that happened. Now, my oldest son from a Comic Con years back this guy had these wooden keyblades,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually has the first keyblade you get. It's a wooden one. The Mickey charm fell off, but it's still a wood one.
Man, you know what I want? So I would want Ventus's keyblade, like his first one, because he has a wooden keyblade that he like made himself before he gets his actual one, I want to say.
Oh yeah,
And like that'd be really cool to have just like that, or I don't know, just a
yeah.
foam
I
sword.
think Spirit Halloween is great, um, but over the years they've gotten more and more expensive.
Yeah, because like they're one of those weird stores where like they're pop-up stores, but then I feel like they're also not pop-up stores. Like I feel like they kind of like just exist in that area all the time.
You know what's crazy? We have two here in town.
Did one of them take over Party City for this time, or are they just the same, or is
So
it right
Party
beside it?
that one is part of Party City, so they own that.
Okay.
Spirit Halloween is owned by somebody else.
Okay.
So there's one where the Bed Bath and Beyond was,
Okay.
and then there's one up by where, um, what was it? Like the TJ Maxx and stuff. It's in that
Yeah.
area.
Okay. So
Yep.
there's two fairly close. Okay.
Yeah, which is weird, but you know what? To be honest, they both will probably sell it. You know, one thing I didn't see in there that I was kind of shocked by.
Hmm.
They did that Spirit Halloween movie last year.
Mm-hmm.
Only digital is the only way you can get it. And I'm like, oh, they'll have a physical Blu-ray or something, right?
No.
No, which is
They
weird
want
'cause
you to forget about it.
I want to at least watch it just to watch it. You know, I gotta at least watch it just
Mm-hmm.
to. I'm sure it's bad,
Yeah.
you know, but they're such. I mean, if you look at their TikTok page and everything, they've got a huge following.
Hmm.
It's crazy. Um, Tangent there. Sorry.
No, I
Um,
mean,
so,
that was a tangent of a tangent of a tangent. So,
so what are you playing, Alex?
oh well, let's see. I've been playing Sea of Stars and I beat it, and it's awesome, and it's my game of the year, and it's better than Chrono Trigger. Don't at me.
Oh,
I'm serious. That's not even like me like memeing and pretending to be like. Skyrim's so bad, PC dorks, all that stuff. Like I'm not trying to be Greg Miller. I'm hang on. How do I do this again? I'm being serious that wow, I haven't done this view in a long time. I'm being serious. Sea of Stars is a 10 out of 10 game. It might be 11 out of 10 game. There we go. I hate how the transition was there, so there was no like back and forth.
Oh yeah.
But you know, Sea of Stars is great. I did the final thing. Today I played a bunch of Wheels, which is a game within a game. I will give you a hint, but you need to like find it eventually. In Wheels, the best combo is a priest and an archer. And that's how I won like the last 5 games. The first 5 games were just luck. Just constantly losing. But then the others, once I got the priest and just actually started using him, then I didn't have to like retry. I was like winning on first try. But no, I will say the Easter eggs definitely worth it for the end, for getting all the extra stuff. However, you need to beat or at least play enough of their previous game to understand said Easter egg potentially. So just kind of an FYI. I don't want to give away what the Easter egg is on a podcast because the game's still so new. But yeah, just have some sort of understanding. I was laughing. It was great. And then yeah. And then before I beat the game, I started up the Messenger on my Switch a while back, like a couple days ago. I'm not even doing New Game Plus. Like I'm starting from scratch again because I want to start to see like how this game plays. I'm reading the story again because the Messenger takes place many years after Sea of Stars. So like there are characters in that I forgot that were actually characters in the Messenger, and then they're in Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
Example, I mean this isn't really a spoiler per se, but like the very beginning of Sea of Stars, you see like this sleeping dragon just in the, I think it's like Sleeper's Island, maybe that's what that one is. But you see the sleeping dragon around an island. That dragon is in the Messenger and he helps you like later. And I don't remember that at all because it's so late game. But yeah, no, he's in that, and then there's some other stuff in it, and then there's like references to other things. Like they really went back, and then there's a bunch of enemies in the Messenger that are just like enemies in Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
Like the ghouls and stuff like that. Or like the fire monsters and but yeah, no, it's a great game, and I highly recommend it for people who like turn-based RPGs, people who like stories, people who like Chrono Trigger, Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario, like those kind of games, because it has a time hits, so it keeps you invested. I really like the lock mechanics.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get too much into detail of this because we should hopefully be having some sort of spoiler cast at some point of Sea of Stars. And so don't know when we're necessarily doing that just yet, but we can talk more about that then, because there's a lot that I want to unpack and just complain, and not necessarily complain, but like yell about
Yeah.
on an episode, because like yeah, there's so many good things about that game, but I just don't want to give away any spoilers. I was so scared of spoilers yesterday, so I was streaming my playing Wheels last night. I didn't want to give anyone spoilers, so when I traveled places, I like went to a different screen and then I only opened it once Wheels was up. Like I didn't show you my
Yeah,
party. I didn't show you my um any sort of menus, the locations for the most part, unless they were like early locations or things that like just look okay. But like if there are like weird people around you or whatever, or like if the environments look different, then I if it's like a later place, like where it's a spoiler, I was like, oh, I can't show you this at all. So
yeah,
just want to be mindful because like
yeah,
there's a certain part during that game where I was just like, oh, what? We're doing this now? And so I don't want that to be spoiled for anyone.
yeah. We're still working on details, but we will hopefully have a special guest.
Yeah.
And
I'm
so
looking forward to it.
super excited that if they're able to do it, um, you know, but
And if not, we can do it ourselves and it'll be a fun time.
absolutely, absolutely. So, I'm sorry. Are you done with what you were playing? I kind of just jumped in.
Yes. I just had those two things. So yes.
So, as I said before, we kind of took like a relaxed episode. Not a lot of bunch of stuff in the news right now, so we want to kind of pick topics. So, me and Alex each picked a topic. I told Alex my topic. He's like, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to surprise you because I want you to think about it and throw you off guard." So, we'll do mine first. So that way, I'm not sprung and then not talk later. So, I want to try and talk about limited run games. Um, we've both purchased from limited run before, but I've noticed some things happening over the last year or so. Um, one thing is things that I maybe reserved on their website showing up on Comic Cons, longer times for things. So I give you an example. I reserved Night Trap Collector's Edition August 2022, and um, I know it takes a while. And I got an email a couple weeks ago saying that, hey, by the way, it's taking a lot longer. And then I got an updated email last week saying that the disc is done. We're just waiting on some of the pieces, and then we hope to get it out quarter 3. My big thing is, and I know you've reserved stuff too, and you've taken a long time for things that you've got. I mean,
Not
what are
that
your
long.
no? Um, what are your thoughts on limited run? And because I think it's lost its like I felt before it was like really awesome because now you have something that's completely never there, but I feel like it's not the same anymore. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm double checking limited run right now. Oh, this is a cool little thing. They have like a Sega book SG-1000 coming out.
Yeah, the books are great. I
I
don't know
think
how
Jared Petty does those.
I think he does too because he listed one and one of them was like it's like NES endings. It's
Mhm.
just pictures of the ending of games or whatever. And I think I got it from his uh Twitter/X
Yeah.
one. I think it's where I got it from.
Yeah, so my thing with limited run, I've only really ordered from them once. I'm potentially ordering from them again soon at some point. Um they initially, or at least they make a premium product. It's just that their weight is outrageous. Um I can understand for certain things like yours, and for mine the highest. Did you get the highest tier?
Yeah, so I have it pulled up now. It's the PS5 limited run number 27 collector's edition.
Okay.
And they've actually switched it because they told me quarter 3. They've got this is what they got quarter 4 2023. So they're hoping to ship it out this year.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So with things like that, I'm more understanding of like why it takes a while, especially because yours, probably like mine, was an open pre-order. Until such a date, they will basically cut it off, and then they'll start production, and then they'll make all this stuff and make sure it's high quality, and then eventually you will get it. but because there is no limit to how many people could pre-order, they're just constantly making these and it's just taking forever. And that's all well and good, but maybe your name shouldn't be called limited run anymore.
Yeah.
Because there are so many of these editions and they don't lose their value, which is a weird thing because I feel like there are a lot of these out there for the most part. Maybe not the super special ones, but at least like the regular, like the regular and the middle versions, because the regulars are all licensed to go out, or licensed. They're distributed to Best Buys. I think they still are for the regular versions of all these games, and then the middle version, like the deluxe, um, those don't take as long. I've noticed. It's just the really, really big one. So like my Scott Pilgrim back here, like that's the biggest one. Everyone else got their others, all the others first. It was that leather, or leather, I should. It's not really leather, but like pleather maybe. I don't know. The roadie like case. Like I think that was the
Yeah.
thing that they were working on that long time, because it's very high quality for what this is. It had all the stuff in it. And it had like I think it has like a cassette tape in there with the songs too from Monomonoguchi, which is pretty cool. um,
Which is hilarious that they would do that. And I'm not knocking them in any way. I'm not saying that no one should buy from them anymore, but I feel like um, I pulled up something here just to give an example. So they did some limited run things just for San Diego Comic Con, right?
mm-hmm,
Uh, they did they did a Zombie Ate My Neighbors. It looks like a Super Nintendo box, but it's a Switch game. They did a VHS for Star Wars Force Unleashed.
mm-hmm,
Looks like a VHS, but it's for Switch. And then they did, of course, the Jurassic Park classic game like version together,
yeah,
which is coming out. But my thing is like they have these out, and then they never produce them there. But I've also heard that my close to what I had ordered is in their retail store. And you see YouTubers and people of that nature getting things in their store you can't get anywhere else. And so, and I don't think anymore they're not as limited
yeah,
as what they were before. When they came out with limited run, I didn't know this, but they were a video game company
mm-hmm,
that made it. Their last game was a bomb, and so they were like, "What are we gonna do?" And then someone's like, "Oh, you should make this game," and so they made it like a soup. They called it limited run, right?
mm-hmm,
And it just took off from there. Um, the thing is you can't really with that. When they first started, they were great, but they're not the only ones that do this now. There's super rare. There's a bunch of other ones, and super rare stuff is like, hey, this is our. I feel like they're better at what they're gonna do when they get out. Like, hey, we're gonna do this. We're taking reservations to here. We should have the game out at this time.
mm-hmm.
You know. Now, granted, they don't do giant ones. Like I know you were looking at the Persona one. How long is that Persona one going to take? Is it going to take another year? Is it going to take longer than a year? You don't really know, and that's where my dilemma is like I did reserve the Jurassic Park Classic because there's no release date for digital. That's why I did it, and I wanted the Game Boy ones, and I think that's the best way to play Game Boy is on that version.
Yeah.
um, without trying to go find the physical copies. But I mean, are you still? I mean, you're obviously going to still buy limited run. Are you just used to the fact where it's going to be what it is?
It is what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was pretty upset about how long it took for my Scott Pilgrim to show up. I opened it up. I have not played the Switch copy because I bought it on PS4, PS5 version. And that's how I played it. I opened up the Switch copy so I could see the tickets or whatever to Clash of Demon Head that I got, because I was like, "What? Am I missing something?" And then I opened that box and I was like, "Okay, good. I'm not missing things inside this." big thing because otherwise I would complain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't missing anything. But after I bought that, I pretty much said, I was like, I'm probably never gonna buy from them again. It's not really anything against them. It's just I don't want to wait that long. Um, there wasn't really an issue with limited run, but with Lilymo Games and PlayAsia for for Colin Moriarty's game, uh, the twin stick shooter thing. I forget what it's called already, but I have it for Vita. I pre-ordered that, and the problem with that is that took a while, and it took so long that I was in the process of moving, and it like showed up like the week before I moved. Again, there was like no way for me to like change that shipping location or anything like that
Yeah.
at that point. So I kind of just had to just pray and hope that it showed up early enough, and it did. With Scott Pilgrim, I'm in this place. I'm going to be in this place for a while, I assume. So I don't really have any reason to be worried about that. But yeah, they announced the Persona 3 portable stuff, and then they also announced that there's going to be Persona 4 Golden editions, and they're going to be announcing those later. The Persona 3 is open until like November something, so it's another one of those open pre-order things, so it will not sell out, which is good. There because there are a lot of Persona fans. I don't know how many people are actually gonna buy this though, because this game has already been out on digital for about a year now, and so what's the point? It's on it's on Game Pass and all that, and it's the remake Persona 3 Reload is coming out next year, and
Yeah.
so and that has its own collector's edition that's $200 that I bought. So it really just depends on like what you want, but like the collector in me really wants this Persona 3 thing, but the logistics side of me is just like, this isn't worth it because I'm really not going to play this game. All the stuff inside it's really cool, but I already own the game. Why am I buying this for $200?
Yeah.
And it comes with like a lot of stuff like soundtrack, a nice book, like case for it. There's a I forget. There's like the sleeve thing, like the C's armband for like their organization. There is a framed evoker, which is like the gun that they use to summon their personas. So I don't know if you've seen much of Persona 3, but instead of using like tarot cards or whatever, like how they do in Persona 4, they just shoot themselves in the head, and then that's how they summon their personas. Yeah, it's very emo 2007.
It seems that way.
Yeah, so yeah, like it comes with a framed one of those, but then people were mad because it's only half a gun, so it's stuck in the frame. But like as other people have mentioned to me and like other things, it's like, well, they probably didn't want to make a gun-shaped object and ship that everywhere.
No.
So it makes sense. But yeah, I'm not disappointed necessarily with Limited Run, because now I know what I'm getting into. Other people may not, and so they might run into this rigmarole like how we are, and just eventually understand. But yeah, it's not limited anymore. It's just a name. Before it really used to be limited copies, and those copies would last for a while. But now that they have their physical store, and now that they do stuff with Best Buy, a lot of these older like copies of these limited games are getting restocks again. And so if you're
Yeah.
buying a game initially for so much money, expecting it to go up in value because it's a limited run game, and that's the reason why you did it, because they said it was limited, like they actually did, and then more copies show up later. I don't know. That kind of hurts you. Some people may not enjoy that because then they bought a game under false pretenses. But yeah, I don't know. I'll buy from them probably still. I just don't know which version. Now, Persona 4, because I haven't had a Persona 4 collector's edition since Golden, where it came with like the Vita case and all that. I'm ready. I'm gonna buy that. I don't care what it
Yeah.
is. The Persona 3 one, the only reason why I'm iffy is because there is a remake of that game coming out next year, and I already have it pre-ordered fully. So yeah, it's just an iffy situation. I just don't know what people should do, what people shouldn't do. Obviously, if you want something, buy it. If you don't, then don't. But understand that if you are getting like a big old version or some sort of bigger version of something, you're going to be waiting a while. Waiting over a year, like how you are, is a little bit excessive. Um, for me, when I was waiting, the reason is that stuff was there was a problem with shipping overseas, and I think that's why mine took a while, because stuff was like
Yeah.
there was that issue with the boats not leaving the docks or something for a
Yeah.
while.
I remember that.
And so like that was the issue with mine, is that like either these cases or something were just on boats that couldn't get, I don't know, get their cargo off of there. Um so that's why mine took a long time. Yours doesn't really have an excuse to be late.
No. No.
Especially like you said, if they are releasing these for special events like Comic-Con and stuff. If they are doing that, I would hope that they're charging people more at those compared to your pre-order, because if they're charging the exact same price, that's a little bit of like, I don't know, that's like kind of a slap to the face.
So funny thing, the only reason I knew that is because I watch Phoenix Resale, and
Mhm.
he bought from another YouTuber, and the YouTuber had this red giant Night Trap box, and they opened it up, and I could see. So mine comes with two action figures, the game of PS5, a Blu-ray documentary called Night Trap 25 Years Later. It comes with a badge, and it comes with they've written their script.
Mhm.
That's why I wanted it. I was like, this is super cool. And I will open this. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'll open the game so much, but I will open everything else because it's pretty cool. And he had one, and he was like, that was like one of the focus things when he was selling his collection. Um, I'll still buy from him. I don't know that I'll be buying giant ones like this anymore. Um, I did buy the Jurassic Park one only because it was like $34, and I bought it for Switch.
Yeah.
This one's numbered, so that one's not. So I'll still buy it. It's so funny we were talking. They are doing. No one's asked for this. No one has asked for this game.
Oh, I
Once
saw.
plumbers don't wear ties.
Yeah.
No one
CDI.
asked. Yeah, no one has asked for it. I remember watching Angry Video Game Nerd play it.
That's the only reason why they're doing it, is because it's popular because of that.
Yeah. And they're doing some really cool stuff with Jurassic Park. Me personally, I'm gonna buy. The only reason I bought what I bought is because I want to be able to play those games. You know,
Mhm.
and looking at them now, they're doing a lot more merch. Before now, I will say that their books that they have are fantastic. Some of the
Mhm.
books, they have some really awesome books in there. But I want to bring this up because one, I'm frustrated about my pre-order, um, and number two, like I feel like I'm seeing things that we pre-order that we've not gotten yet. Now I've never seen the Scott Pilgrim one, but that is like an exception.
I see it
Um,
at one store. There's a disc replay north of in North Indiana that always just has it, and no one's
what do they
buying it.
have it as?
250.
Price list. But I think again, like
That might be how
I've
much I paid.
yeah, as being a reseller, I will tell you what, the times where I've tried to buy like stuff from people and they're like, oh yeah, but I got a limited run. I'm like, price charting has it at less. I bought the Battletoads Dragon Double Dragon Retro, right? It's like the cart, but it comes with a bunch of stuff. Um, that's dropped in price.
Mm-hmm.
I actually lost money, and so, but I agree with you. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I know they're trying new things because financially it's been like a roller coaster, but also, also just so you know, if you ever do buy a limited run game and you get a hold of their customer service, if you don't understand that it doesn't ship out right away, you probably won't hear a reply. Because when I bought my first one,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I'm like, well, Streets of Rage is out. Why haven't I gotten it?
Yeah.
And they're like, they just literally sent me a link to read. So yeah. All right, let's move on to the next thing we're going to talk about, which I don't know. I don't know what it is. Alex said he's going to surprise me. So I'm kind of excited and anxious.
Yeah. So we might have done this before on an episode or something, maybe back when the olden era, when we used to have a third person underneath us. um but after playing Sea of Stars and like other games here recently, it made me think of like what I like about video games and what would I want from a game. So I don't really have an answer for this yet, so I kind of just pose the question, and I want you to just come up with it and spot for yourself. Um, like what is your ideal game? So like what I mean by that is either unlimited budget. Like what is the ideal game that you would want to make? Because I also watched right before this, I watched the Sea of Stars documentary, and they talk about how it's from The Escapists. Like it's on YouTube. It's from like a month ago, and they talk about how they made games to reinvoke like what they enjoyed about games when they were kids. Like the main guy, I think his name is Terry, who like main creative director for Sea of Stars, and like that team. Um, when he was younger, he lived in Canada. He didn't speak English, but all games were only in English for the most part. And so he rented Chrono Trigger and fell in love with it with not even knowing English. He fell in love with just the vibes, which is
Yeah.
crazy. You can just learn from like numbers, and you can see like hit points and all that kind of stuff. You can just learn how to play a game. You don't really understand the language, but um, you can just see the music, hear the music, see the visuals, all of that. And you can just you want to. That's why like they wanted to create a game like this, um, just to recapture um, their fascination and just their youth, I guess. um, So I pose the question for you, like, what is your ideal game? Like you could have an unlimited budget. If you want to restrict yourself, you can. What genre do you want? What system would you prefer it to be on? What type of game do you want it to be? Um, and this kind of also goes into along the lines of like, what's the game that you want to play? um More so of like what's something that you want to make money. I mean, it's more of like a passion project is what I'm trying to go for. Like what's something that you would want to exist that you would want to play.
It's funny because you said you're going to have to really think about it because it's deep. To give you examples, so, and I said this when we were talking about Sea of Stars, um, it is rare for a game to capture me into the point where I put in, which I've got almost 30 hours in Sea of Stars. That's rare. I don't have a lot of time to game. I usually do in short spurts. And so when a game gets me at a point where it's like, I want to play that, or I'm thinking about it during the day. Um, one that has done this well was Ghost of Tsushima. The fact that I platinumed it on PS4, the director's cut came out, I bought it, and instead of transferring it over, I platinumed it a second time.
I mean, it gave you a reason to play the game again.
Right, right. And I think for me, like what I would look for in a game is um I would love so role playing is some of my favorite. Good storytelling. Um, but what I would love would be is like a good role playing licensed game. And I say this where I think it should be like turn based. Okay.
Hmm.
Excuse me. But I would love a good licensed one. And and I mean licensed because I think, you know, finding those licenses there where you have always new characters coming in, um, from different things and stuff. But I for role playing, it's so difficult because like some of my favorite role playing games is like Zelda and Final Fantasy X. Um, Maybe 8. I think eight's okay. Um, Kingdom Hearts. They all have like their things,
Yeah.
Um, but if I had unlimited budget, and you're gonna laugh, but I would love like a role playing game with Transformers, but not Michael Bay Transformers, but the '80s ones, like a legit one, not like a money grabbing like mobile game that's total shit.
What about did you ever play it doesn't exist anymore because of the way that licenses go. Did you ever play the Platinum Games Transformers? Was it Deception or whatever?
Oh my gosh, yes,
Like
that was
like that type of art style?
yeah. So I own the digital version of that.
Same.
Um, that game was so good.
Yeah, it
Original
is.
voices, original voices, unique art style. Uh, I felt like I wanted more when I finished it,
Hmm.
you know. But uh, nothing says cool and nostalgic when you have a video game that has Transformers and you can play as Grimlock and he speaks in third person like Grimlock did from the show,
Hmm.
and it's the actual voice of Grimlock.
Yeah.
Um, that game was so well done. The music, the visuals, and it was like easy enough to like learn how to play it and get combos down, but hard enough to make it so it's not super easy. You know,
Hmm.
um, that I think that's perfect. And I'll even talk about the Activision versions as well. War for Cybertron and War on Cybertron were great.
Yeah.
Um, Different perspectives. So you had the Autobots and the Decepticon side. Those games are great. I'm really hoping with Microsoft owning that there
Keep
could be
hoping.
a chance that those get well if it goes through. I know they're still fighting a bunch of stuff, but
Hmm.
if that happens, how cool would it be if like we open our Xbox Game Pass like, hey, now that we own this, here's some licenses we still own of stuff, and they release some of those Transformer games to play on
That'd be
Game
cool.
Pass.
I only played the first one of those, and I really enjoyed it. But that was the era I wasn't renting things because that wasn't really a thing anymore. Or maybe no, renting kind of like stopped right around then.
Yeah,
I think I like borrowed it from someone, or maybe I bought it for really cheap and then put it back. But yeah, no, I definitely can see that. I don't. It's like Michael from Arrested Development looking at the dead bird bag. It's like I don't know. I expect it. It's like I mean, yeah, I don't know what I expected from you. Like, it would either have to
right.
be Transformers, it have to be Star Wars, they have to be, um, I don't know. There's so many like little things that you are, um, high like I don't know wired for. Like Ninja Turtles is another one,
Yeah,
or like Halo or something. Um, like those are things that like you are a huge fan of. So I don't know why I didn't think of Transformers, but as soon as you started to say something, I was like, okay, I know where this is going.
I mean, even if you think about like Star Wars, right? Do a really good Star Wars RPG, and I'm not saying the old Republic ones are bad. I'm just saying that I feel like now that Disney owns the rights, do something better. Do something where you can, uh, and don't make it one of those money grabbing like cell phone games. Okay, because I used to play the Galaxy one on my tablet and stuff. I mean, that literally was like put more money into it to make sure you get who you get, right? But
Yeah.
like, have a game where you could do a story or you could go through the actual movies with those characters and do role play, you know, um, role playing fights.
Yeah.
I think there's so many opportunities out there. And what you mentioned Sea of Stars. I think the thing I liked the most, it was the most unique story. It took pieces from Chrono Trigger, but not just there, like a ton of '90s, you know,
There.
like role
Oh, I
playing
don't
and
want
stuff.
to give it away. Um, I don't want to spoil something specific for someone, but like I won't. I'll tell you about this later. But there is like an homage to an old Sega game, an old Sega RPG, like in that game at a certain point where I'm not gonna say specifically what it is, but like where they do like a big old cutscene, not like animated cutscene, but like windows of things. You know what I'm talking about.
I think I know I
Yeah,
think I know which
it
Sega game.
is like it's not a shot for shot remake, but it's pretty close to a certain scene that I guess that happens in a Sega RPG from like the Genesis era. So like they took
Yeah,
inspiration from that.
yeah,
Um,
and I definitely think we could talk about it afterwards because I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
And I think you said this is your game of the year. As of right now, this is my game of the year. I've not played Spider Man yet.
I don't think Spider-Man can top this. I mean, also it's kind of apples and oranges.
Yeah,
Like I understand that for how review season and how ratings, how Game Awards work, is that there's always one big game of the year. However, I feel like there are certain games that can't be compared to others for certain things. Like Spider-Man is its own big action adventure thing, big in quotes because it's only 30 hours and people are complaining. And I'm here so happy that's only 30 hours to 100% it. That is awesome. Um, and then there's Sea of Stars that took me like 40 hours and some change
right.
to do almost completing. um, and yeah, they're just so different that I don't think when we do the final episode at the end of this year, beginning of next year, I might have two game of the years. Just because I don't think I can judge Sea of Stars against another thing. Like I think it deserves to be up there with
Well,
something
and I
else,
feel
if
like
anything.
at a true get out of gaming style, there could be more than one game.
Yeah,
I know there's some games that I'm anticipating this year. Um,
yeah,
I don't
same.
think it's going to make my game of the year, but I'm actually looking forward to the Metal Gear Solid trilogy.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm
and
looking
not
forward
only
to that. I want to get on my Switch, even though I know it doesn't run completely well. um, I want to get
well,
it for my Switch because I think it would be fun to play it that way.
yeah, I'm excited that Metal Gear and Return of Snake from
Yeah,
NES will be on there. I think that's going to be the best way to play it.
and they'll have
Um,
the Commodore games too.
yeah, I think that's the best way to play it. And to be honest, I never finished Metal Gear Solid on PS1. I think about like a couple hours into it, and so I'm kind of
You're not
excited.
missing much. I'm gonna be honest. You're not missing
I've
much.
seen people I've seen people finish it back in the day. Like you go over to someone's house and someone was finishing it, but like I want to play those games. I think that's one I'm kind of anticipating. Mario Wonder is another one, but
Yeah.
I don't know that I would add Mario for my game of the year because it's I'm expecting it to be like Mario with different power ups and different things. I'm not. It's not going to be a change of complete change, which I'm okay with Mario. To be honest, if they did a bunch of really crazy weird changes, I probably wouldn't like it.
I
You know
just
what you're
remember
getting
that
into.
Super Mario RPG is coming out.
Yeah, you got that coming out. You've got Mario Wonder. You've got Spider Man this month.
I'm
At the end of the
so
month, you got Metal
happy.
Gear Solid. My son's freaking out because he wants that Naruto and Boruto because it's like literally all of those games in there in
Hmm.
one disc. Um,
I never finished Boruto, but supposedly they're on a break right now because there's gonna be a time skip.
yeah,
But I need to get back into Boruto. Just
there's. I'm trying to think. There's something else that I'm missing that's coming out this year.
I mean, there's
Um,
the Kiryu man who lost his name or whatever.
Yeah.
It's coming out, but then there's a lot of stuff that's coming in February and January, because we have let's see, we have Ryoga Gotoku, the new Like a Dragon 8. Wait, no. 8? Yeah, 8. The Infinite Wealth or whatever it's called. And then we have next year's a leap year. So
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out on the 29th of what do you call it? February. And then let's see. And Persona 3 Remake comes out like the beginning of February, late January. I forget which. But yeah, no, there's a lot of things coming out soon, but then there's also, yeah, we're missing something. I know there's something else big that's coming
There's
out.
yeah, and I can't think of it now. There's I remember there's one particular. I don't know if it's December or it's November, but I know it's in that time frame. Um, but I think when you talk about a game that I would personally want, um, I kind of want another Ghost game.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to continue his story. And if you're listening now, spoilers. At one point he was a Ronin and he was on the run
Mm-hmm.
for stuff he did in the game, and so uh, I want to see what happens to him next. You know, uh, I want to see a new move set. I want to see more things learned. Maybe he goes to get away from it and run from the Shogun. He goes to China and he learns a different style of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I want those, but in the same token, I want these new ones. So, like, the reason I bought the Death or Treat, it was something different.
Yeah.
I know what I was anticipating. So they are doing, and I remember showing you the trailer. Do you remember that Ebenezer Scrooge game that's coming out this year?
I forgot about that.
It's so weird and wacky and so crazy. It's basically Ebenezer Scrooge fighting off something, and he uses the ghosts that are supposed to help him or whatever. And he looks really slick. He's got a cane, and there's like platforming and very Castlevania ish. But you use the ghosts in your attack. And that's one I'm kind of anticipating as well. And maybe Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm trying to get Alex to get it so we can play together. It looks like stupid. It's not Death by Daylight where it's like serious and intense, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm just saying I don't play multiplayer games, so I probably won't play it.
I think if we got all of our friends to play it together, it would be so much fun.
Do we have friends though?
I mean, I think we do.
Do we have an audience? Are we just talking to ourselves?
I think this is one I wanted this to be very
podcast for two.
Very, very conversational.
Yeah.
I definitely think the end of this year, I will tell you, this is the most I've spent close to the end of the year on games.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like last year we were talking like, hey, so what are you getting for like the end of the year? I'm like, oh, nothing really.
Supposedly, it just came out, but the new Koei Tecmo published, I don't know if they made it, the new Fate game, Fate Samurai Remnant, is like doing pretty okay, like 7s and 8s across the board. We have 2 collector's editions over here that aren't mine, but yeah, no, so that's another thing that I might play eventually. But yeah, I'm kind of glad you didn't turn the question around on me, because I don't have an answer.
I almost did, but the way I felt, the way our conversation was, I was like, I don't think he has an answer.
I don't like. I had an answer for a second, and then I realized it did happen. Because you talk about licensed games. What I really wanted was a turn-based game like this, like Sea of Stars, with with time hits and all of that, but it would be Steven Universe, and I got that already. It came out on Switch and other consoles and stuff for a while. It was the second game. The third game, unfortunately, was a little bit of a disappointment for me because it was an Apple Arcade game first. So it had
Gotcha.
it had like weird movement and stuff. So like it wasn't like a fully explorative RPG. But the second one, I think it's like Escape the Light or Attack of the Light. No, Attack of Light's the first one. It's something the light. Um,
Save the light.
Save the Light. Yeah, it's a really fun game. Especially if you like Steven Universe, and it takes place um at a certain point. I forget who is good and who's bad at the point, but like it's before Future. Although it's before Future. It's before like certain Diamond things, but I think like Peridot's good. So it's like around there. And it's like it has its own story, it has its own characters and stuff like that, and has really good animation, has really good character designs because it's just the far away designs. Like when a character is further away in Steven Universe, like the cartoon, they do this like simpler like eyes and drawing, and instead they just blew that up and made that the style for the game instead of like trying to make it like very realistic like the or more like the show, more detailed like the show. But it has
Which
really great music and it has all that. So yeah, that would probably be my answer, but it already exists. Maybe something that was a little better. I don't know. Like I enjoy the game a lot for what it is, and like I put up with a lot of things because of it, and it was fairly cheap, so that's why I also bought it at the time. But um I would like something with maybe a little more quality put into it. But
yeah, I was actually looking because I didn't know all the ones they had made.
yeah, there's
Um,
three of them.
yeah, the one that I saw was this the Save the Light, and it also came with um, OK KO, Let's Play Heroes, which I guess
Hmm.
was another Cartoon Network show. So
Yeah,
my kids started just watching Steven Universe. Um, we had some problems with watching some of the other ones, like what
regular
was it?
show.
Yeah, and it was just not appropriate.
Yeah, I'm
And
watching
so
regular show right now with a friend, and we're on season 3, and it's a great time for adults and for older
right,
teens, but anyone younger, you shouldn't be watching that.
so we switched to Steven Universe because I knew it was safe,
Yeah,
and they're like they threw the biggest fit, right? And the first one was the ice cream cookie cat one.
yeah,
Uh, Loved it, and so we've been watching it. And so I was looking, and I was like, I know they make some physical versions of these games,
yeah.
uh, and so, but I think you know, with companies, I think the one thing you are going to see, and this is just my thought going further, you're going to see more HD remakes and fixes like that, and you can thank Resident Evil. I think
Hmm.
Resident Evil has paved that way. Uh, I loved watching, and this is kind of a tangent, but if you ever watched the side by side of Resident Evil 4 for Wii versus the new version,
Oh yeah,
it's it's not even like night and day. It's like completely.
yeah. I
It's
know.
the Wii version. I didn't think was scary, but it's like much scarier. Um, and so I think there's going to be a chance to get some out. And so what they need to be doing is, I would love a Sly Cooper one, and I
Remake.
know everyone wants. Yeah, I want a remake,
I never
or
played Sly Cooper.
I think they're pretty fun. You know what? If they don't want to do a remake, it's fine. You know what? Give me a HD remake of the first three. There you go. Um, I mean, that's what I want.
They're just gonna give you the PS3 HD collection again.
I mean, if it runs on my PS5, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely okay with it. There, but man, I like doing these shows where you don't have to plan a lot and we can just kind of talk and it's casual.
Yeah.
I think we need to. I think what we need to do is get some chairs next time and do some mics in front of my fireplace and have the fireplace going.
I could
And we're,
probably turn on a fireplace in this setup.
I would almost be scared to turn my fireplace on and us sit in front of it. We would probably roast. Um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, depending on how we record this here eventually, like we could probably use my camera to actually record, but I don't know how long we can do that because it supposedly, if it's not being used as just like a pass through, it overheats as a
Oh,
camera
nice.
if it's going for a long time. Um, so that would be the only issue there. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe a future episode and stuff. Maybe we'll do it in person someday. Even though this is just so much easier.
It is. I know someone asked me, um, why not do it in person? I'm like, oh gosh. I said, you know what's nice is I can get 5 minutes ready, make sure everything's picked up, go.
Yeah.
Makes life so much easier. So,
Yeah, it does. It does indeed.
well, I tell you what, that was our episode this week. Um, again, like I said, we are a bi-weekly podcast. You know what we would really love if you are listening to the podcast for the first time, go ahead and hit that like follow button. Check us out on all social media. We're on Threads, we're on Facebook, we're on X. Check us out there. Hit the follow button there. But you know what would be really nice if you went to Spotify and followed us on Spotify. We have 21 followers right now. Would love to get to that 50 mark. That's kind of a goal of ours. And if you could help us out, that would be great. This episode will post on Wednesday of the week it comes out, with the video version coming out on YouTube on Friday. Um, if you have a podcast or you stream and you would love to kind of contact us as well to be on one of our episodes, we are always looking to cross promote and always looking for people to just got to work together with. We would love to have you on the show. Message us either at X, Threads, or on Facebook.
Yeah.
Set up a time and talk. We would love that. Um, I don't really have anything else. Do you have anything, Alex?
Not really, except get at it.
Get at it.